Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English. This is Mukesh Soni. Friends, let's have a discussion of the question paper of first semester BA Generic English examination April 2023 under BCU Bangalore City University question paper. And to begin with, the section A consists workbook which has the weightage of 40 marks, and the question paper begins here with a passage. So you need to read the passage, and you need to read the passage minimum 2 times and need to answer the questions. There will be 5 questions based on the passages, based on the passage. So read the passage at least for 2 times. You can pause the video and you can go through the passage. So like this, you'll be having 5 marks questions, 5 questions for the 5 marks, each for 1 mark. There may be questions like true, false, fill up the blanks, or suitable title to the passage, or the multiple choice questions also. So moving to the question number two. Question number two for 3 marks. That's a you need to describe the picture, and this picture is about the Mysore Dasara celebration. The picture is not much clear, but I have tried to describe the picture in my own words. You can also add few more words. You can pause the video and you can read the picture's description. So this is an image description for 3 marks. Then next we have caption writing, and the caption writing is for 2 marks. So the cake exhibition has been arranged in your area for Christmas. So you need to prepare 2 or 3 captions. A party without cake is just a meeting. A ready to eat slice of heaven. A smile with a frosting on it, or baked just right. So give the simple, precise uh, caption in a very phrase manner. Don't write sentences together. That's for 2 marks. So these are the 10 marks questions. Now we are moving to the 2 questions will be asked, each for 1 mark, from the referencing skills section. So why should sources be acknowledged? If you borrow another person's ideas or the words without acknowledging them, you are leading to plagiarism. It gives the impression that you have stolen someone else's ideas or words without giving credit to them. That's the reason that sources should be acknowledged. Then give the examples for primary and secondary sources. Primary sources include photographs of historical events, news articles, novels, short stories, autobiographies, letters, journals. Secondary sources, the essays which have analyzed the novels, works of art, some other original creations, textbook passages discussing the specific concepts, experiments, or the event. So like this, only the 2 questions they will ask, and each for 1 mark. No need to describe this much. I try to give you the extra information. Just hardly answer one of the 2 lines. Then 3 questions from the listening skills, each for 1 mark. So to begin with, what are the benefits of listening? It helps you build connections, it helps you build trust, it helps you identify and solve the problems. Then question number two, which is always a universal and permanent question I've seen in the last 3 question papers. Give any 3 differences between hearing, listening. Listening is an active process, hearing is a passive process. Listening requires attention and hearing does not require attention. Listening requires empathy, curiosity, motivation, whereas hearing is associated with a lack of interest. Third one, mention the different types of listening: active listening, passive listening, biased listening, sympathetic listening, empathetic listening, therapeutic listening, critical listening. So you can give 3 4 types of listening's names. So these are the 3 questions, each for 1 mark, from listening skills. Next, you have 5 questions from the language functions, like how to introduce, how to ask, how to inquire, how to congratulate. So based on the given situation. So you can add your answers. My answers are very much limited here. Introduce yourself to someone who you meet at a wedding. So how to answer? You have to be very much formal. Hi, my name is Sushil. Nice to meet you. May I know your name, please? So you are introducing yourself. Then request your sister to clean your room as you are very much tired. Hey, I'm too tired today. Could you please clean my room? I'm unable to get up. Then compliment your friend on his buying a new motorbike. Hi Satish, congratulations for buying a new motorbike. It's really amazing. Let's go for a ride to MG Road. You are on the way to attend a wedding. Inquire about the way to the venue from a policeman. Excuse me, sir. Can you please guide me the way to reach Mahakalyan Mandapa? right? So very politely you need to ask. Don't say, tell me where is Ma Kalyan Mantapa. No, could you please, would you mind guiding me? If you don't mind, can you please tell me? So use such kind of expressions, and I had done videos on those language functions. You can see the link in the description box or in the playlist. Seek permission from your sister to use her vehicle for a day. Hi sister, I need to go to office early tomorrow. My vehicle does not have updated emission status. Could you please give me your scooter for a day? So these are the expressions, and one more expression we have here. Instructions. So 10 marks questions one side, and the 5 marks questions instructions. So give instructions to your friend how to use a metro train or how to travel by metro. So 5 marks questions. While drafting the instructions, keep in mind you are not supposed to write the sentences, or you are not supposed to write the paragraph. It should be in the step 1, step 2, or in the numbering, or in the bullet points, and use the main verb first. So you can see here on your screen: plan your trip, purchase a ticket or card, enter the station, find a platform, wait for the train, board the train, listen the announcements during the travel, exit the train. You can look at here these 8 main verbs: plan, purchase, enter, find, wait, board, listen, exit. So all the sentences are beginning with the main verbs. That is called imperative sentences that are being used to form the instructions. Next, you have here questioning skills. So the questioning skills are for 5 marks. So 3 questions you need to frame WH questions to get the underlined word as an answer, and the 2 questions from the question tag. Parking is prohibited here. So underlined word is parking. You need to get this one as an answer from the question. What is prohibited here? Question mark. Monsoon starts in June. When does the monsoon start? When does the monsoon start? Extra n, grammatical spelling error. When does the monsoon start? They went home because they were tired. Why did they go home? If you're using did, the verb should be in the present tense. So when present tense is the go. Why did they go home? Now the question tag. You belong to that class, comma, don't you? You belong to that class. It's in simple present tense, and here you is always considered as a plural noun, plural pronoun. So don't you? Then it was very sweet, wasn't it? So when your sentence is positive, question tag is negative. When your sentence is negative, question tag is positive, vice versa. Remember, when you're framing the questions or the question tag, don't forget to mention the punctuation question mark. Many students, they don't write question mark and they get the less marks. Next, you have here the types of sentences. So 3 questions are given. You need to mention the particular type of sentence. Who is the dog? Who is at the door? I'm sorry. Who is at the door? So it's a question. So it is called interrogative sentence. What a tragedy! That is called exclamatory sentence. Sit down. That is called imperative sentence. The last question from the workbook: punctuation. So 2 questions are given for punctuation. Number 1, don't park your car here, traffic police said. So it's a dialogue. So dialogue should be in the double quote, don't, D capital, don't apostrophe T, park your car here, unquote, comma, traffic police said, full stop. My friend who is a doctor, lives here. My friend who is a doctor, comma, lives here. So these are the questions from the workbook. So this is how your workbook has more weightage, 40 marks, very scoring. You won't get this opportunity in the 3rd semester, in the 4th semester, or in the 1st and 2nd semester. Now, course book. 20 marks questions from the course book. And for a kind information, I have done the videos on all the chapters of the 1st semester BA. You can see the description box, all the links of the videos. Even you can go through my playlist. If you just see BCU first BA, you will get all the videos playlist over there. So let's move on. 5 questions out of 7 questions, each for 1 mark, 5 marks questions. Who is handsome youth in Akka's Vachana? The handsome youth is formless, deathless, and beyond destruction. What happened to the youngest runner in 9 gold medals? The youngest runner fell down on the ground, which was made of asphalt. Why was Epenio taken to the church on Sundays? Because Epenio could not be left alone. Could not be left alone. Please add here B form. Because Epenio could not be left alone at home. Next, what disfigured the face of Sulekha? She had poke marks on all over the body, which made her ugly. What did the young man offer to anyone who showed him the white heron? He used to offer $10 to everybody who used to show him white heron. How should men live in this world according to Vivekananda? Vivekananda taught that a man ought to live in this world like a lotus leaf, which grows in water but is never moistened by water. He emphasized the importance of religious tolerance, universal acceptance, and the idea that all religions lead to the same truth. And the last question for 1 mark: who played an important role in changing the course of Bholi's life? That is Bholi's teacher. So these are the 7 questions. You need to opt only 5, each for 1 mark. Now, the next part here, paragraph type questions. Out of 3, 4 questions, you need to opt one, and each for 1 mark question here, 5 marks. Bholi underwent a change in school. So what is Bholi's school episode, or the school's impression? Boli had many apprehension about going to school. When her father was going to take her to school on the first day, she was afraid that she might be sold like a cow. Her father understood that she was nervous, so he ordered his wife to dress up the girl in decent clothes. Oil was rubbed into Boli's dry and matted hair. Now she felt that she was going to a better place than her home. Bholi's teacher changed the direction of Bholi's life through her love and affection. She filled her mind with hope and faith. She told Bholi to cast out all fear from her mind. It was because of her guidance that Bholi developed a personality. Now she could face all the problems of life with great courage and confidence. So that's a role of school or education. What was the big event in the village in the last song? Question number 2. One particular year, the villagers were in an especially expectant mood because there was a big event coming up in the village church in about 6 months: the dedication of the new church building. Every member of the church had contributed towards a building fund by donating in cash and kind, and it had taken them nearly 3 years to complete the new structure of tin roof and wooden frames to replace the old one of bamboo and thatch. In every household, the women folk who were planning new clothes for the family, brand new shawls for the men, and new skirts or lungis for the women. The whole village was being spruced up for the occasion, as some eminent pastors from neighboring villages were being invited for the dedication service. Pigs earmarked for the feast were given special food to fatten them up. The service was planned for the first week of December, which would ensure that harvesting of the fields would be over and the special celebration would not interfere with the normal Christmas celebrations of the church. The villagers began the preparations with great enthusiasm, often joking among themselves that this year they would have a double Christmas. Question number 3. Describe Sylvia's effort to find White Heron's nest. Sylvia knows a tall oak tree about half a mile from the house, and she always imagined that whoever climbed to the top could see the ocean. She knows that whoever climbs it could see the heron. She cannot sleep that night and heads to the tree while it's still dark. She climbs up a smaller tree and makes her way from branch to branch until she reaches the oak tree. Although it's a tough climb, she feels energized by it. At the top, she sees the heron perched on a pine branch. Staying completely still, she admires it from afar. The heron is scared away by a flock of catbirds, and Sylvia climbs down, wondering what the young man will say when she leads him to the heron. She hears from grandmother calling out her name after finding her granddaughter missing. The young man is helping her look, having guessed that Sylvia went to look for the heron. He asked her what she saw when she was out there, but he surprised, and Sylvia even surprises herself when she can't speak, unable to tell the heron's secret. The young man leaves disappointed, and as she gets older, Sylvia always wonders if she made the right choice. Question number four, the last question for 5 marks. What was Swami Vivekananda's views on Vedas and God? So I have taken the direct answers from the text. The Vedas declare no, I am a spirit living in a body. The body will die, but I shall not die. Here am I in this body, it will fall, but I shall go on living. I had also passed, I had also passed. The soul was not created, for creation means a combination, which means a certain future dissolution. If then the soul was created, it must die. Some are born happy, enjoy perfect health, with beautiful body, mental vigor, and all wants supplied. Others are born miserable, some are without hands or feet, others again are idiots and only drag on a wretched existence. Why? If they are all created, why does a just and merciful God creates one happy and another unhappy? Why is he so partial? Nor would God create one happy and another unhappy. Why is he so partial? Nor would God create, nor would it mend matters in the least to hold that those who are miserable in this life will be happy in future one. Why should a man be miserable even here in the reign of a just and merciful God? In the second place, the idea of a creator God does not explain the anomaly but simply expresses the cruel fate of an all powerful being. There must have been causes then before his birth to make a man miserable or happy, and those were in his past actions. So these were the 5 marks questions. Now we are moving to the 10 marks questions. Out of 3, you need to opt one. What are the views of Akka Mahadevi's and Satyaka on God? Akka Mahadevi's Vachana depicts how the poet accepts the immortal Lord as her husband. The poet expresses her love and says that she has loved a handsome youth. This youth has no figure, no structure, and very immortal. Her love is not subject to death, and it's beyond the time's limit. Her love is not restricted to any boundary, it is infinite and universal. It has no sign, it has no symbol, it has no picture. She emphasizes that her love is birthless because it never dies. It doesn't fear, it's very strong. There's a great bond between the poet and her handsome youth. Though her love has no boundaries, it is not measurable. She has accepted the immortal, omnipresent Lord Mallikarjuna as her husband. She says, I loved a handsome youth, formless, deathless, and beyond destruction. I loved a handsome youth, placeless, infinite, entire, and without a sign, O mothers. I loved a handsome youth who is birthless and fearless and bold. I loved a youth who, being boundless, is immeasurable, O mothers. I loved my husband, Mallikarjuna, passionately. Satyaka's Vachana is about the formless immortal Lord and the realization of one's inner self. The poet says that her God does not reside in any external object. She felt foolish having thought so. She realizes that he resides in a heart without intimating her. She is unable to describe him because he is unborn. She believes in the theory that the God is everywhere omnipresent. She felt losing her heart in his absence. His absence is reminded by his formless appearance. She expresses her devotion to Jakeshwara, the Lord Shiva. She says, thinking that he's outside, I talked foolishly. He lives in my heart without letting me know it. I cannot describe the unborn who is everywhere. I lost my heart in his void. What shall I do? O mother, O mother, if I forget, my formless husband reminds me, our Shambhu Jakeshwara is good to those who know him. So this is the answer. Question number two, how did education bring out a change in the life of Bholi? So this answer is in the form of a summary. The story Bholi highlights a vital role played by a motivational teacher in the life of a student and how education becomes a lifeline for the development and helps her stand up for her rights. So Ramlal's family, Ramlal is a revenue official. He has four daughters, Radha, Mangala, Champa, Bholi. Radha Mangala is married, Champa is about to marry, Bholi is still not yet married, and Bholi was 7 when second daughter was born. This story is all about a simple village girl named Bholi. Her real name was Sulekha, but fate deceived her when she was 10 months old. She fell off the cot, damaging some part of her brain. As a result, she could pick up speech only after when she was 5 years old. But she stammered. Later, when she was 2 years old, she had an attack of smallpox that left her with blank spots all over the body. The other children often made fun of her and mimicked her, therefore, she talked very little. Ramlal had 7 children in all, 3 sons, 4 daughters. Bholi was the youngest one. All others were healthy and strong except Bholi. Bholi was 7 years old when a primary school opened in the village. The Tehsildar came to perform the opening ceremony of the school. He told Ramlal that as a revenue official and as a representative of the government in the village, he should send his daughter to the school and set an example before the villagers. When he consulted his wife about the issue, his wife did not agree with him, yet she decided to send Bholi to the school. The next day, Bholi was given a bath and a new dress to wear. Her mother mated her hair and then she was sent to the school. When her father left her in the school, she sat in a corner in the school. When her teacher asked her name, she stammered and the children started laughing. At this, Bholi started weeping, but the teacher's voice was soft and soothing. It encouraged her a lot, and finally, she could tell her full name. Then the teacher told her if she would come daily to the school, she would speak without a stammer, and one day she would become the most educated girl in the village. Then no one will dare to laugh at her. Then they will listen her carefully. Years passed and the village now turned into a small town. One night, Ramlal consulted his wife about the proposal made by Bishambar, a grocer in the neighboring village. His wife readily agreed to it. Boli was also listening this conversation. The day of her marriage came. When the bridegroom was about to garland her, some lady pulled her veil down, showing her face to him. The bridegroom had a quick glance at her and noticed pox marks on her face. At this, he asked Ramlal to give him 5,000 rupees as dowry in order to marry that ugly girl. After some arguments, Ramlal handed over the money to Bishamdar, but Bholi asked his father to take money back from him as she did not want to marry that old lame and greedy person. Everybody was surprised because Bholi was not stammering at all. The bridegroom went back with his barat. Ramlal could not lift his head due to the shame and grief. He asked Bholi as who will marry her now. But Bholi said to him that she would serve her parents in their old age and teach in the same village where she had learned so much. This is the role of education in the life of Bholi. Last question. Question number three for 10 marks. Explain the theme of violence in the last song. In the moving short story, The Last Song, Tamsula Eo tells us of the brutal rape and killing of Libeni and Epenio, the mother-daughter duo, because they dared to challenge the hegemony of the Indian army. Epenio, since her birth, was a gifted singer who inherited her love for singing from her father, who died when she was very young. Her father Jemben, her father Hemben, who was a teacher and also gifted singer of folk songs and Christian hymns at church. His sudden death brought immeasurable hardships for Epenio's mother Libeni, who had to struggle hard to raise a daughter single-handedly while also continuing to work in the fields. However, despite such hardships, Epenio never lost her love for singing, and gradually, people in her village realized that she not only loved singing but also had an exquisite singing voice. Soon, she was inducted into the church choir, where she became the lead soprano, the lead person in the choir. By the time she reached the age of 18 years, she had blossomed into a beautiful lady and had earned the nickname called Singing Beauty, which brought immense joy to her mother. Very soon, she gets the opportunity to be the lead singer in the inauguration of the new church building, which the villagers had planned meticulously for many years. However, these were troubled times for Nagaland. The separatist movement was gaining momentum, and simple, innocent villagers were caught in the crossfire between the Indian government and the armed rebels. Villagers were forced to get involved either through facilitating new recruits or paying taxes to the armed militants. The Indian army unearthed records of such collections and decided to punish such betrayers of the government by arresting all the leaders. On that fateful day, when all the villagers gathered in front of the new church and the choir began to sing, suddenly a gunfire shots rang out, and very soon Indian army, Indian armed forces surrounded the crowd and commanded the pastor to come forward along with the village headman. But Epenio, oblivious of the dire situation, continued her singing as if guided and inspired by some unseen presence, which also prompted the choir to sing along. Enraged by her defiance, the soldiers resorted to violence, kicking and assaulting the villagers and committing all sorts of atrocities on the people. However, Epenio continued her singing in spite of her mother's efforts to stop her. Finally, the army leader grabbed her by the hair and dragged her away towards the old church building. Amidst this mayhem, Libeni searched for her daughter, and finally, when she discovered her, she saw the young captain was raping Epenio, while a few other soldiers, were watching the act and seemed to be waiting for the turn. When Libeni tried to prevent a soldier grabbed her and pinned her to the ground. What followed was a horrible ordeal of brutal violence and gang rape. He bashed her head on the hard ground several times, knocking her unconscious, raped her limp body, using the woman's new lungi afterwards, which he had flung aside to wipe himself. The small band of soldiers then took their turn, even though by the time the fourth one mounted, the woman was already dead. The army then proceeded to kill and shoot people who tried to flee or take refuge in the old church and annihilate all eyewitnesses by setting the church on fire where terrified villagers were hiding. Soon the fire engulfed the new church. The granaries and the entire village was reduced to ashes. Many people went missing, and piles of charred bones were discovered in the old church along the remains of the mother-daughter duo. They were buried outside they were buried outside the perimeter of the graveyard of the village, as the Naga villagers reasoned that they had both died an unnatural death. Thus, they became victims are the patriarchal forces of the Indian state machinery in their own society. Thus, the short story, The Last Song, portrays the theme of violence. So friends, this is how I have tried to solve the question paper of first semester B 2023 examination, and you can go to the description box where I have mentioned all the videos links, or else you can go to my channel and see the playlist BCU first semester BA. Thank you so much for watching this video. I wish you good luck for the forthcoming examinations.